Hey everyone, buckle up because we've got some juicy drama to dive into. Cleo, who's been making waves in the music scene, just dropped some serious allegations about icespice. According to Cleo, icespice isn't just a bad friend, she's downright demonic. From tour bus debacles to claims of shady behavior behind the scenes, Cleo spilling all the tea and calling out icespice for being a fake friend. Icespice, on her part, is firing back, saying she was just trying to help and is baffled by Cleo's accusations. So what's really going on between these two? Is icespice's career in trouble, or is this just another bump in the road? Let's get into it and unpack this whole saga. So, Cleopatra, who used to be tight with icespice, just threw some serious shade online. She's accusing icespice of using Ozempic to lose weight. Even though icespice, whose real name is Isis Naija Gaston, has denied these claims, Cleopatra wasn't having it. She fired back on Twitter after icespice called her a vacuum for eating too much. Cleopatra tweeted, "Imagine being called big by someone who was just big. Ozempic got y'all thinking you're fat phobic now? Bet." This drama started when Cleopatra, who was opening for icespice on her Y2K tour, complained on TikTok that the tour wouldn't cover a chicken salad she wanted. She was like, "How am I not in the budget when y'all invited me on tour?" and aired out other issues she had. icespice reminded on X Space, saying it's sad how people act out when they don't get their way. She defended herself, saying she tried to help Cleopatra by adding an extra tour bus and was frustrated that Cleopatra seemed ungrateful. icespice even threw some shade back, saying Cleopatra ate so much at an Italian restaurant that the server was shocked. Most think that Ice is to blame for this one. She's definitely on shaky ground in this beef that she got going on with Cleo. icespice appears to have a mean demeanor. "If my friend is touring with me, I would ensure that my team treats her well. I felt she had a mean vibe from when she was beefing with Lotto." icespice been a mean girl, I don't know, it's in her demeanor. Even on interviews, she acts as she's above everyone. It's cringy. icespice's manager, James Roseman Jr., jumped in to clear the air. He said Cleopatra got a chance to tour, but it's up to her team to handle all the details and costs. James pointed out that openers don't get the same perks as headliners and called Cleopatra out for acting entitled. He suggested that Cleopatra might be stirring up drama just for attention instead of dealing with things privately. On the flip side, Cleopatra shared her side of the story in a TikTok series, spilling all the tea about her tour experience with icespice. She complained about having to change in bathrooms, pay for her own hotels, and not getting paid. Cleopatra accused icespice of being fake and manipulative. Cleopatra said she felt mistreated and undervalued on the tour, even though she was brought up to help boost icespice's image after some drama with leaked texts. She exclaimed that icespice promised everything would be sorted out, but ended up leaving her to cover a lot of her own costs. Cleopatra felt like she was just an afterthought, with icespice using her for her own gain. She detailed how the tour was rushed and poorly organized, with last-minute changes and no clear info on what she needed to handle. Despite trying to make the best of it, Cleopatra felt sidelined and mistreated. Cleopatra also talked about feeling humiliated when she had to carry her own bags while icespice's bags were handled by security. She even had issues with her bag being left outside icespice's dressing room, which led to a stressful situation with her credit card information being used without her consent. Accommodation was another problem. Cleopatra often had to change in public bathrooms while icespice's guests had proper rooms. She also faced miscommunication and unexpected expenses, like paying for her own hotel rooms, which was a big hit to her finances. Cleopatra felt excluded from meals and social activities, and her attempts to connect with the others on the tour were met with hostility. The production team seemed to ignore her needs, leaving her feeling isolated. Despite all this, Cleopatra tried to stay positive and found some support from the tour's hairstylist. She saw the whole experience as a test of her strength and determination. Even though she felt undermined and unsupported, Cleopatra's resolve to stand up for herself remained strong. So, icespice decided to weigh in on all the drama herself, and of course, every story has two sides. icespice hopped online to share her thoughts, backing up what her manager said. She's bummed out that people lash out when they don't get exactly what they want and noticed a pattern where folks flip out when they can't use their fame to their advantage. Here's icespice's side of things. She feels like she genuinely tried to help Cleopatra by bringing her on tour, especially after adding an extra tour bus to make more room. Ice is frustrated that Cleopatra's complaints are overshadowing her efforts. icespice says Cleopatra never mentioned any issues during the tour, like the chicken salad or how her bags were handled. According to Ice, Cleopatra only brought these up in a long message after the tour was over, which she thought was unfair. She also called out Cleopatra for focusing on the negatives and ignoring the fun moments they had, like theme park trips. icespice thought Cleopatra's portrayal was way off and accused her of ignoring the good times. When it comes to Cleopatra calling her soulless and dark, icespice found those comments pretty extreme and unfair. She thinks Cleopatra might need to look at her own issues instead. Despite the drama, Ice Spice is determined to keep pushing forward with her career and tour dates, showing she's not letting the controversy get her down. The real question here is, what's up with Ice? I mean, sure, she just turned up on the scene out of blue and got all the success in a very short notice. But many people thought she could fit on the big stage. However, there are many question marks as of late. Maybe she's just not built for this? So what's really going on with Ice Spice these days? She made a huge splash when she first arrived, grabbing success almost overnight, but now things seem to be taking a turn. Her popularity seems to be on the decline. On Spotify, her monthly listeners have plummeted from 40 million in 2023 to under 17 million in 2024. This drop is particularly notable considering how quickly she rose to fame. Her debut album, Y2K, hasn't exactly hit the mark with fans or critics. It's been described as lacking thought and personality with a repetitive sound that fails to impress. Sales projections are also disappointing, with expectations set at only around 20,000 copies sold in the first week, which seems pretty low for an artist of her stature. Ice Spice's industry relationships are also showing signs of strain, even though she's collaborated with major names like Nicki Minaj, Taylor Swift, and Pink Pantheress. There have been hints of tension. Leaked text suggested some issues with Nicki Minaj, though Ice Spice has downplayed these problems in interviews. Critics and fans are also questioning her artistic development. Many feel she hasn't shown significant growth or versatility, and her producer, Riot, is often criticized for producing beats that sound too similar. There's also talk about whether Ice Spice's rapid rise through social media might have been more of a hindrance than a help. Some experts suggest that this quick fame didn't allow her to develop as an artist organically. People are speculating that her career might be on a downward trajectory, especially when compared to other female rappers who have managed to maintain more consistent success. Lately, she's also been more in the news for her personal life and rumored relationships than for her music, which might be shifting the focus away from her career. In summary, while Ice Spice achieved rapid success early on, there are growing concerns about whether she can sustain that momentum. The negative reception of Y2K and the drop in her listener numbers raise questions about her long-term prospects in the rap industry. So the real question now is Ice Spice really built for the long haul, or is she struggling to keep her place in the spotlight? So, Ice Spice and Cleo are in a full-on public feud right now. Cleo's been pretty upfront about feeling mistreated and unsupported during the tour, while Ice Spice insists she was just trying to be helpful and is totally confused by the whole thing. The internet's buzzing, and it looks like a lot of people are backing Cleo. Some folks even think this drama could mean trouble for Ice Spice's career. As the story keeps unfolding, it's a reminder of how fast things can change in the world of fame. Whether this will turn into a big setback for Ice Spice or just a temporary rough spot is still up in the air. But right now, everyone's definitely keeping their eyes on her.